So the Quant founder, Gilbert Verdian, goes in detail in the future of Quant, the ISO standard, mass adoption, blockchain crypto, and he talks about how he thinks Quant will develop in the coming months and years and where he thinks it will end up. Before we go any further, guys, the price of Quant is $127, and a lot of you guys have been saying that these videos, this section of the video is technical analysis, which it is not. I assure you, it is simply to watch back out later on to actually, keep up with the price for you guys. If you're tuning in to watch these updates every single day, you're going to be able to actually see the price as well. And, even in the future, when we're watching back these interviews, reactions, we'll be able to see the price. Nothing more. This is not technical analysis at all, of course. But yeah, and also the chart is pretty, in my opinion, irrelevant at the time being. I am a long-term investor in Quant'S, and really, I'm just looking at the days where we see red to be putting my money in. Nothing more, nothing less, to be honest. Before we go any further, if you're looking to trade your futures, trade your crypto, I'm currently using Coin.W, and I've actually got a special deal for you guys. If you go ahead and sign up with the link in the description, you'll get 0 futures transaction fees and also a 500 USDT bonus to be trading your crypto futures with. And yes, you can actually use the 500 USDT to trade futures, not just to rebate your fees. Actually use it to trade futures. If you are interested, link to it will be in the description. That being said, guys, I do want to go through this, a section of this interview, or let's say statement, announcement, if you want to say. And yeah, let's react to the first bit. It's 2 minutes long, and yeah, let's get straight into it.
Good morning, everyone. I guess once you work in government, you never leave government. So I'm across 3 at the moment, and I'm trying to add some more, but I think it should be enough. The United States is among those at the forefront of blockchain technology, and to stay in the forefront, the US should continue to promote policies that will lead to the mass adoption of this technology. Not since the birth of the internet itself has the technology shown so much promise and elicited such excitement in the blockchain and distributed ledger technology. Traditionally, much attention regarding blockchain was centered around Bitcoin. That's one of the first applications of it. We really need to forget about Bitcoin for a moment, because it's only a small part of what the technology can do from an exciting and disruptive opportunity that it presents. It's predicted in the next few years that much of our digital consumption will be on a blockchain foundation without us even realizing it. And that's correct. That's how it should be. To break the technology down to its core, it provides human-to-human trust and machine-to-machine trust through the built-in integrity and cryptography controls, allowing us for the first time to trust the network so we can trust each other.
And this is something, to be fair, he's been, talking about for a long time. Interviews dating back to about 2018, 2019, where he was literally saying the same thing. So, it really shows that he believes in the problem, and it is a big problem for when it comes to the blockchain, and actually have, it's a big deal for when it comes to mass adoption to actually take place, to have these problems solved.
The need to have all the complexity that we have in place today. So before blockchain, we've had to build institutions, we've had to build regulations, government, complex systems to provide us that ability to trust each other. In order to achieve scale, we need mass adoption, interoperability, and standardization. While the potential for this technology is tremendous, without all 3, the full promise of the technology cannot be realized. To be clear, it's not a panacea, it's not going to cure cancer by itself, but it is a critical part of shaping the systems at will. When it comes to standardization, it's important to note that this actually enables innovation. Standards allow competing technologies to work together. It provides a framework for openness and governance. And this is why I founded the ISO standard in blockchain in 2015 to avoid some of the pitfalls of the past and legitimize the technology.
But yeah, guys, that was the first bit of the interview, and by the way, he did mention at the end that he founded the ICO standard, and yes, he actually did. There was this bit of interview where he talks about it, and we've also showed you interviews in the past where he does mention he founded the ISO standard. The sole standard that is solving so many problems now in so many different areas. But I'll play the clip where he actually talks about where he founded the ISO standard. So yeah.
How do we have a blockchain overlay that can interconnect different networks and different systems? I started talking about it from a government perspective. The standards people approached me and they said, this is really interesting. Can we turn this into an ISO standard? And what that means is standards create economies, because you're allowing people to communicate and talk the same language. And in financial services, in payments and all the messaging systems, ISO 20022 is the standard. The old one was 8583, which is the old payments standard that everyone's been using, like Visa, MasterCard, etc. But it's evolving into ISO 20022. So for me, it was a great way to define and fix the problem with blockchains, because I had a problem with the way the ecosystem was growing, because we were making great technology, proof of work, proof of stake. We had great adoption because Ethereum was quite big at the time. Ripple had just started, so there was some aspirational things, but they were making all this technology in isolation, and I didn't want everyone to make that mistake again.
And yeah, that's again big problem with crypto. If a business, or like let's say a government, when it comes to mass adoption, if they want to go ahead and use the blockchain in crypto, what do they do? What do they actually use, right? They can't just go ahead and use Ripple, just single out to one blockchain. There's ERC20 out there. That's got pros and cons. They can't use Bitcoin itself. There's so many different smart chain blockchains that they could be using, and Quant solves this big problem. They can use all of them all at once using Quant's technology, right? The Quant overledger. And it is a big deal. It might not sound, actually, it probably does sound it, but even then, if you don't think it sounds like a big deal, it can be, especially if they want crypto and the blockchain to adapt to the masses.
And because we made that mistake with the old internet service providers of the first internet, where you had an account with one ISP, you couldn't talk to anyone else. You were stuck with CompuServe, you were stuck with AOL, for example. So I didn't want the industry to make that mistake again. So I established the ISO standard back in 2015, did all the work, and we got it approved. And in early 2016, it kicked off April 2016 as the first plenary. So that was a great way to bring interoperability, security, privacy, smart contracts, governance, all of those important topics that make blockchain work with each other to the global playing field. And now today there's 57 countries and organizations working together to do this. So there's a huge push behind standards, and this is the future. Standards is going to enable the mass adoption and the mass implementation of blockchain, because people can trust the technology.
And I do want to confirm, right, this interview does date back a bit. So you're kind of hearing the same thing, really, from the recent interviews, and some of the older interviews, right? And it is really interesting. And I do want to mention, by the way, we do have a bunch of other clips that, highlights, I should say, that came out from this interview, or if you want to say statement, from Gilbert Verdian. And we'll be doing future videos, tomorrow, well, every day, to be honest, from now, when we react to these. There's a lot to go through, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you're new to the Crypto Maxi channel, guys, subscribe and hit the bell to stay updated on your favorite crypto. I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.